So continuing the next part, so the topic that we'll be taking up will be the cooperation between International Atomic Energy Agency and the Asian Development Bank. So we covered this topic previously. So objective is to meet developmental challenges. So we always say ki, development, or specifically when we talk about dealing with the global challenges. So cooperation is very important, cooperation and coordination, being on the same page. And here we also talk about promotion of the interest to the global south, their participation, their representation, even when we talk about the UN reforms. So here on similar terms, we are talking about there should be more cooperation between International Atomic Energy Agency and the Asian Development Bank. So what can be the cooperation, on what basis, on what factors, in what areas, and they can actually contribute and cooperate. There can be synergy in which all areas. So agriculture and food safety can be the one. So agricultural value chain improvement, food irradiation. So here the role of Atomic Energy Agency becomes important. Contaminant detection, food traceability, food safety standards. We'll talk about as we talk about India, maybe we have the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India and the climate smart agriculture. So जहाँ पे भी irradiation है, or talk about contaminant detection in the food, because again, if we have such contaminated food, so it would be impacting the human health, it would be impacting rather the entire food web. So that's how in this area they can contribute and cooperate together. Second would be climate change, disaster risk management, emergency preparedness. So here in disaster management, we can say the nuclear installations, their protection, their safety is important, even during specifically in the coastal areas. In India also, most of the nuclear power plants are located in the coastal regions. So if there is any tropical cyclone or if there is any tsunami, so their safety becomes important. Then third would be the environment and forest management. So land use management would be important, combating desertification, land degradation, and biodiversity preservation. Fourth would be the health sector. So in cancer, we say that nuclear technology is important even in cancer treatments. And then animal health, if we talk about One Health concept. So here also their cooperation, the role become important. Fifth would be water resources management, water supply and sanitation. So even contaminated water, recently we saw in the news also that Japan would be releasing the water after proper treatment of, I think, not able to recall the name of the power plant, nuclear power plant. I think it is, I'm not sure, so I'll not take the name. So regarding that, here the role of, again, International Atomic Energy Agency is important. Now, blue bond market, we talk about blue bond, we talk about blue economy for the healthy ocean. So again, blue economy is also a concept of conservation and sustainability. So healthy oceans, how we can again take the benefits of like the mineral resources which are present in the ocean, which are still, we can say they are unexplored, but at the same time, how we can ensure their conservation at the same time. So this is important as part of blue economy. So blue bond market is particularly to raise the funds for such projects, like we have deep ocean mission in India. So that is what is the purpose of blue bond market, how we can help in sustainable growth and development of the fisheries industry. So that is also, we can say, funds can be raised for those areas also through the blue bond market. So ADB and International Finance Corporation. So IFC is a part of which body? Karuna, we discussed this thing. IFC, International Finance Corporation, is a component of which body?
I think World Bank.
Yes, it is a part of World Bank. ADB, then IFC, International Capital Markets Association, UNGC, Global Compact and Environmental Program Finance Initiative. So they have developed a practitioner's guide aimed at providing the global bond market with consistency and transparency in financing the blue economy. So their role is to provide proper guiding standards. So that needs to be followed as far as the global bond market is concerned. So blue bond, what is actually a blue bond? So it is relatively new form of thematic bond. Thematic bond, we talk about for the promotion of blue economy, where the issuer will use that capital, that amount, that money that is being raised through the blue bonds to support investments in healthy oceans and blue economies aligned with SDG 14. So how will this guide help in developing the blue bond market? So we're talking about this particular guide only. So as we have green bonds also, so on similar lines we have the blue bonds. So green bonds are for the renewable energy projects. So funding for the oceans, it has been small. Like we can say it has not been a priority area for different countries, but now since we can say since we are having limited and scarce resources, so now our attention is more shifting towards again sustainable energy, renewable energy, and oceans. So then the because the issue is small and piecemeal finances which are available. So for that purpose, in order to overcome that challenge, we are issuing blue bonds. So we're generally focused on mitigating the impacts of industry. So that's what development plus conservation would be ensured. So the scale of the problem requires transition from small deals to transformative market. So we need to again deepen this bond market also, even the blue bond market. For that, awareness generation is important. People need to be aware about where the money would be invested, if even if they want to be, we can say, responsible investors also. So also the aid investors by providing availability of information also to evaluate environmental impacts, like we have the environmental impact assessment. So here also the bonds would also be helping in evaluating the impacts of on the blue economy, the impact of the blue bond investments. And the most common types of projects which are supported or expected to be supported by the blue bonds, specifically again coastal climate adaptation and resilience. So this would be again in terms of climate smart agriculture also would be a part of it. And second would be marine ecosystem management, conservation, restoration, and we can say tourism. Third would be the sustainable coastal and marine tourism. It is mentioned there, like we talk about um, coastal regulation zone and construction in the floodplain region. And we also talk about the cruise tourism. So all of that becomes part of it. Then sustainable marine value chains. We talk about fisheries, talk about aquaculture operations, sustainable downstream operations, having transparency and traceability and accountability at the same time. Then fifth will be marine renewable energy. So here we talk about the onshore and the offshore wind energy plants that are constructed. So there would be the important role. Then secondly, we can also talk about tidal energy also. Then marine pollution, very important, very critical area. In that, wastewater management can be how it can be done. So you can see how many different subsects, different sub areas are there where massively the blue bonds can play a very, very important role. Even in terms of green maritime, sustainable ports construction, sustainable marine transportation, even reducing the logistics cost. So ADB, Asian Development Bank, is committed to boosting the investments in healthy oceans. And UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon 2022, it again the objective was the Sustainable Blue Economy Investment Forum special commitment session was there. So yeah, again we're talking about ADBs, how it is supporting the blue bond issuances. So issue bond issuances में through blue bond incubators, and it includes providing technical assistance provide ki ja rahi hai in order to again for the better understanding of the investors ki how it would be benefiting them also, because this is again one of the safer areas to invest at the same time. So this would be helpful for the developing member countries even in order to raise the debt to get that financing for in order to make that project successful. And securing external verification all around, it's all about registration and the transparency, so linking to prospective investors. So in the next part, we'll take up MDB, multilateral development banks, and talking about their reforms. So this is also a hot topic of debate. So any doubts so far?
No.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us on Ansarkari, and do subscribe to our channel for such informative videos.